Welcome back to A Corporate Time. All right, so for about how many days now? When did the trial start?
Oh, God, I think it's on day 10 now.
Okay,
we've been
10
in
days that, everybody knows that Sam is interested in, murder trials.
Yeah, she likes true crime.
True crime and, semantics, and you heard about this.
Yeah, they do. Occasionally they dip their toe into the, hey, cryptids, or hey, look, this murder, or hey, this is unexplainable, or hey, this person's crazy, or are they?
It's on Samantha. It's part of Samantha's brand.
Yeah,
right?
And it's on her Patreon. You can go subscribe to her Patreon, give her a couple bucks. It's free, but you'd really be helping out her and her semantic show.
Yes. And so since this trial, and remind everybody who is on trial, just so.
Alec Murdoch is on trial. He's a very high-end solicitor from South Carolina. His family has been in the government for generations now, either being like district attorneys or...
They've been in politics.
Yes.
Yeah, a little nepotized. Is this a big
Good
trial?
old boy. Oh, yeah.
Because, the only reason I asked that is because if you'd never told me about it, I don't think I'd know what was going on.
Well, we're not in that
You're
bubble.
not, yeah.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. Then, so
do you
how
know when any trial's going on besides maybe like back when Casey Anthony? But
well,
that was
like
local?
major trials is what I mean. Like an OJ, a
OJ,
Casey Anthony.
that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I guess when Alec Baldwin, Rust, if they run the Rust thing or something like that, sure, I'm on board. But to me, this is just any run-of-the-mill murder thing. This is just
Johnny Depp. I love that one.
Yeah, that was okay. That was the last one, Sam.
Oh, okay.
That was more whimsical.
That was a whimsical
comedy
mega
trial.
pint, taking a deuce in the bed.
Yeah, it's a murder trial.
I enjoy that one.
This one though, this was pretty grim.
Serious.
I've
Anyway.
been listening. It's pretty grim.
So, ever since it started, Sam has put it on in the...
It's like an old man running a police scanner in a garage.
I've been waiting for this trial for 4 years.
Yeah, it's on the background of her computer.
So she's been waiting for like Christmas.
Which also, Sam, you could do something that I could never do, which is you could listen to a
typing
murder
a full
trial,
email.
and then you're editing and doing all your work. Like,
I would
maybe
just
how
sit there and
shows how
listen
dumb I am. Like, anytime you're even editing, like, I have to stop doing what I'm doing. And
Oh,
then
you're saying she's bothering you with her
no,
editing?
it's not bothering me.
Do you hear that, Sam? He's saying your editing is
It's not-
bothering
it's
his
not
thinking.
bothering
You
me.
can get the hell out of the office while I edit.
I
He
started-
needs full quiet to think.
I started listening to the show, and then I started listening. But I enjoy it.
He has that full quiet to use his mind.
I'm like, man, I'm funny. That's all I can think of. Anyway, so Sam has been listening to this trial for
Day
10
11.
days,
It's
yeah.
day 11 today.
And I
apparently.
wouldn't say I find it's interesting, but I do find you got to pick through some stuff, man. There's a lot going on, a lot of characters, a lot of different detectives, and
I have no idea what's going on,
Me
and
neither.
it's been playing for 10 days. Like,
neither.
I couldn't even tell you anything about
it's
what's
just like-
happening. Nothing.
I always look and it's like, oh, the witch is on trial. Like, oh, Detective Ronnie's on trial. Oh, look, it's the lady. It's like,
I know there's murder involved. That's it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
He's on trial for murdering his wife and son.
yeah, and this is the weirdo story where.
But he's got a bunch of other charges against him,
this guy's
financial charges
this guy's
against
an
him as well.
unsavory cat.
And then what was the bizarre part? And we'll get
It's
to
all
the bomb
bizarre.
threat, but the real the sequence of events.
The more Sam tells me, the more I'm like, well, oh my God, how does nobody know about this?
Well,
Like,
I remember when the story first came out, and then it was like his story was crazy.
There was a boat crash involving one of his sons and their friends. A girl ended up dying on that.
that's the
That
one I
boat
remember,
crash,
right?
That's kind of what kickstarted the whole investigation into him and his financial crimes and everything, because he was kind of allegedly paying off some cops and some judges and medical staff and everything
they
to
tried to clean it up.
Yeah. And before the son could even go to trial, his son and his wife were murdered on their property, on one of their properties, because again, they own like half of South Carolina lowlands. Like, they own a lot of property.
super wealthy family that has a bunch of ties.
And then there was an alleged murder hit against him on the side of the road. He said he was changing a tire and somebody shot at him. And then that turned into, when that got proven wrong, it was a botched suicide that he tried to hire somebody to kill him. He wanted to commit suicide because his wife and his son were dead, right? Except for if it was suicide, then his other son would not get the payout, the insurance money.
So he needed somebody to kill
hired
him.
somebody allegedly to kill him, which may or may not be true. We're finding out. So then that happened. Also, they had A housekeeper ended up dead at one of their properties under weird circumstances.
That's just a housekeeper. That's okay.
He stole all the money from the dead housekeeper's children. He took all of their money from the settlement. Like, this guy's
it's a housekeeper. It can't be much. I mean, what'd you steal? Like $32,000? I mean, come on.
Well, so the whole thing is, obviously.
And now he's being charged with the murders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he an old man?
He's like 54.
That's a young. He's lived a crazy life, man.
So,
good Lord.
Now I didn't really want to talk about the trial because obviously people could follow it.
It's still unfolding.
Listen to semantics. I'm sure semantics.
I'm sure she peppers it in.
I don't talk about this at all on my show.
No,
no,
so
never
don't
talked
listen
about
to
it
it for that. But just listen to semantics.
There's a really good podcast called The Murdoch Murders if you want to get up to great. But it's like,
you don't talk about why you listening to it.
That's because it's her passion.
Because I listened to a podcast about it.
This is her hobby, is like this stuff. So why
would
she
monetize it?
Then
talk about it on your own show.
I'm not going to do it any better than this lady's been doing it for the past 3 years.
She's doing this because she enjoys it. And
I like you better than that lady.
You don't even know that lady.
Yeah.
That's
not what you told me in private.
You also don't listen to my shows.
You told me in private you like the lady better than Sam, but that's a whole different conversation.
Anyway, today they had the bomb threat and they had to stop the trial to evacuate the building.
Well, she was watching it live when it happened. Sam, I come in from the store and Sam's like, there's a bomb threat.
Yeah, they had just brought up another investigator. And as he was being sworn in, the judge was like, oh, we have to evacuate the building. But he didn't say why. He just said we all have to evacuate the building immediately.
So it turns out there was a bomb threat.
Yeah.
And
he should have been creative. He should have been like, well, I have diarrhea. He should have said something funny.
Well, my question is, are all bomb threats standard protocol, no matter how serious you think they are, and they have to evacuate, then search the building, blah, blah, blah? Or do they hold some weight to some and actually go and then disregard others? I don't know.
I feel like it's probably a case-by-case basis. This is a high-profile case, and these are really high-profile people. So maybe that's why they're taking it more seriously, because there's got to be times where there's bomb threats all the time at courthouses, right?
I got a bomb threat checklist if one's called in of things you're supposed to ask the guy that has the bomb.
Well, I'm looking at especially high-profile cases, right? Like say the Casey Anthony, right? The whole world's watching that.
Yeah.
And out of just pure statistics,
surprised there wasn't one for that one because people hated her.
I'm sure there was.
Oh, there might have been, yeah,
but they didn't evacuate.
Right.
So because I'm sure there were dozens of crazy people watching that case and calling in bomb threats, and then the police then took that threat and one must not be created equal to the rest of them. Like there has to be some other maybe cause or suspicion that causes them to up the level of
maybe
safety.
A person of interest of some sort,
or are they something suspicious? Because
this is hyper interesting. What I just pulled up, it's from a government website, and it's just like if somebody calls in a bomb threat, like the things that you're supposed to ask the caller if they're on the line. So it has like this little area where you say you write what time they called and what time they hung up. You ask them, where is the bomb located? When will it go off? What does it look like? What kind of bomb it is? What will make it explode? I guess if you have time to ask all this.
Well, why would anybody answer that? They would just say,
I don't know, but maybe but if they could, right? I mean, why? I mean, based on what you guys are saying, don't ask him anything. He's not going to tell you anything. It's like, you should try. Maybe he's super dumb.
Yeah, or
I don't think they're hanging around on the phone for too long.
Never
know.
know
What I mean?
Gotta give it a shot.
Why they even called to begin with?
Got to give it a shot. Exactly. It's for attention.
But then there's remember.
Oh, check this out. Information about the caller. You ask, where is the caller located? They're never going to say that, but you write down the level of noise in the background.
Oh,
I would never think to do that. If somebody's calling me, I'm never like, what's the level of noise in their background? You're supposed to ask or write down their estimated age, and is the voice familiar? If so, who does it sound like? And then there's a bunch of checklists for background sounds, the caller's voice. Is it male, female, accent, angry, calm, clearing throat, coughing, crackling voice, crying? There's a bunch of different things you check.
Because the way my brain works is I would disregard all of the bomb threats that were called in, thinking that just a crazy person is not real. They didn't really plant the bomb, which is bad because every once in a while,
it's going to be true. Yeah.
Remember the Olympic bomber and stuff like
Richard
that?
Richard Jewell, yeah. But he wasn't the guy. But
but the guy
ruined his life.
There was people, or he actually called and told people that he put a bomb there or something. You know what I'm saying? There was a threat or a admission like, hey, I put a bomb here, and it was true.
Right.
So it means that people do this.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely do it, yeah.
And I'm not sure, I can't even recall any other circumstances or events that someone actually called in a bomb threat that was real. But, 99.9% of them are fake. Right? I mean, how many bomb threats are called in and they're all fake? Majority of them, 99% of them.
Very high percentage. Yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of extra.
But where are the ones? Are there some that are called in that actually like are tiny bombs? Are there guys that call in like, I put a bomb in the church, and it's like, like I blew up your choir room. Take that.
Very little bombs are
little bombs.
You
never get a polite bomb. They're
think about how many bombs. I mean,
big and messy.
The last actual bomb that went off was at the Boston Marathon. How many years ago was that?
6, maybe 8.
6 years ago, and that was the last. And then before that I can't even remember.
That was terrible. That was just gruesome.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's super
that was
scary.
10 years ago.
10?
Yeah, I said 6. Then I went to 8. I was so wrong.
So
wrong.
What I'm saying is it's super rare.
Yeah, it is.
So how serious do they take the threats?
I think they have to. Well, they probably have some sort of weird thing that we wouldn't like, right? They probably have like some like Navy dive tables where it's like, what did they sound like? Were they like real adamant about it? Let's sit here for 2 minutes and see if they call back.
Yeah, did they describe? Okay,
yeah, maybe it's. But I guarantee you people go like, that's not good enough. Sweep the room, like.
But it can't just be one crazy person calling, because that would happen all the time. They'd shut down everything. They'd call it in during the Super Bowl and shut down the Super Bowl.
Well, they do. I'm sure they do.
Well, I've never seen the Super Bowl shut down.
You don't think that every Super Bowl gets a crank call from some kid?
I do.
It has to happen,
right? But nothing happens that we see.
Correct.
But they evacuated the whole courtroom. So
what justifies the evacuation?
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Is it the red line? What's your red line?
What is because like I'm saying, and I don't know.
Maybe we need to ask Bus to talk to some of his buddies.
And maybe just the threat alone is enough to follow the protocol of like we have to evacuate, search, and then put people back. But I don't think so, because it would happen all the time. Especially like it never happened in the Casey Anthony trial.
I'm sure it did, but
we never saw them evacuate one day, or did it? I can't remember.
I don't remember them ever doing that.
Either.
And I think we would have flagged that.
And for sure, there was crazy people calling in bomb threats, because so many people thought she was guilty. The only child murder.
Sam said she had one in high school.
I had a lot. We had a lot in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's rough.
But most of them were like because it was like midterms or something, and somebody we
had like garbage. 2 at Real Radio that I can remember.
There were never any bombs.
I'm sure if you ask, there were never any bombs. I'm sure if you asked Jack, there'd be, I don't know when the last one was, but we've had them.
When I was answering phone calls, people would call in bomb threats all the time. I'd be like, bye-bye. And they're lying.
And you guys think that this guy's going to save me?
He's going to jump on that old man.
I was like, you don't got no bomb. You're a liar. You're crazy.
You would tell them that?
Mm-hmm.
But then I wouldn't tell anybody else. I'd just be like, I know
this
that
doesn't make me feel any safer today, by the way.
I'm joking.
You know what? I'm going to jump on the grenade.
But I would do that.
I'm going to help
I know
Tom.
you would.
I'm going to help Tom out too. When I was a phone screener years and years ago, because according to Tom, yesterday I've been doing this 30 years, I remember people going like, I'm going to come up there to the radio station and shoot you. And I'd be like, come do it. Come do it, you P-word.
Oh, that happened in that movie, Talk Radio.
I know, but I'm just saying.
But we're like, that's the anomaly.
Because I was 24 years old.
This is just
not a care in the world.
This is just some guy that's trying to scare me. He's not doing nothing.
I mean, you stupid redneck.
It's like the gun underneath your shirt. It's like, there's your finger. I'll smack it out of there. You're like, who puts
But it's not a wise thing to do, especially these days, right? I
would say statistically it is. Because statistically, they are lying. 99% chance. Imagine betting on that. I'm a gambling man. Would
it make you feel bad if that's what they did? What if that was protocol? Protocol was just like, it's not real. Go on.
Yes,
we just got to take them out and put them in.
That's what I want, because 99% of the time, it's not real. So then you're betting on 99%, which is insane.
We do a lot of things. We do a lot of things that are, quote, protocol or the way it was for nothing. We do a lot of that.
Yeah, I know.
We do a lot of that.
I hate that.
You hate protocol, don't you?
Well, because it's...
What would you do if we get a bomb threat here? What if somebody called that line right now and said, there's a bomb in here?
I wouldn't believe them. I'd be
neither.
like, you're lying.
I'd be like, there's other places connected to this. You're going to kill innocent people, so do it, you P-word.
It's just that one time you're wrong.
You walk outside, you see he's got a plunger. What happened to the old plunger?
Like the TNT.
Yeah, the old TNT plunger dynamite. We need to bring that back.
Too bulky.
Nah, it looks good though, and I like the zing.
That wasn't like mines, like you know, and you don't need to do that. You just put the wire together. That's all for show.
I like the
theatrics.
Show.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
the theatrics. I like the click. You know, you can buy. I saw one of those on Antique Roadshow. You could buy.
You know,
somebody sell me one of those for the studio.
When I was a kid, I thought that there would be a lot more people diffusing bombs from crazy people because that's all I saw.
All you watch is you had one tape of MacGyver.
No, it was like not only MacGyver, but every Die
But that's
Hard
what
movie.
you were thinking, wasn't it?
There's always a scene where someone has they're sitting a bomb and they're trying to cut the
Not
wire.
the red one, not the red one.
Yeah, and this like I thought that when I became an adult, I'd hear stories all the time of like people leaving bombs everywhere. And that was
turns out it's just shootings.
Like,
yeah.
Let me ask you something. Who makes a bomb? Let me ask you this. Who makes a bomb where all the wires are color-coded in a way where people can cut them? Just use all black wires? And F you guys. You can't do it. Cut them all. You're all dead. Like, I used all black wires. I don't even know which is which. I don't know which is which. So you go find the yellow, find the red. You'll never find it. It's all black wires. That's just the tip of the day.
I'm sure someone will call in and say or maybe they don't say the protocol because they don't
want to give it out.
They don't want the public knowing that because then they're going to cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, but then the next time you call in, you'd be like, "There's a bomb in there, and I know the protocol."
And nowadays,
do you have to use a crazy voice when you do it, or can you just be like your normal? Most people that do it, I think, use a computer voice. Tracy in our chat room said that she answered a bomb threat one time. She should call in. She said she answered one and it was a robot voice. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I imagine they just use a stereotypical computer voice.
Yeah, it's like the vocal equivalent of cutting out letters in a newspaper.
Yeah. Now,
but the letters from a newspaper ransom letter is terrifying. Just something about those letters.
Yeah.
The way it's cut out mishmash like a crazy person, and big letter, little letter, big letter, little letter. It's scary.
Although punk rock flyers started using them a lot in the 90s, and then it desensitized me to it. So every time I see it, I just think of punk rock flyer.
Thanks a lot, now. Black Flag.
Oh, God, what was I going to say?
Getting old. It's happening to me, too. Do you know sometimes during the show...
Start doing weird voices like Carrie.
Sometimes during the show, I'll turn to say something, and I'll match eyes with Sam, and I got nothing. And I'm just like, hey. Do you feel like you're dying a little bit?
Of course I do.
You look good, though, dude. You look good.
Did you take some kratom on the lunch break?
Can I tell you something?
I was about to tell Carrie, I was like, just leave a little scoop.
Put a scoop in
my
my
God.
No, I was just going to say, leave a scoop on the table. And then
on the table to blow away.
No, I'll put a piece of computer paper over so you guys don't see it.
We used to put it in computer paper and then crease it so we could tap it
like a
into
goodie
our
powder.
Yeah, you could tap it into your mouth like a goodie powder. I'm like, what am I, a trucker?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Computer paper, you stay.
Did you ever do it? You did a scoop or two.
Oh, yeah.
Not many, though. How did that spill over to you? You're the good one.
Sam was forced
Why
to
did
because
you know what?
she thought
I apologize.
Peer pressure, man.
You know, I'm going to apologize to you. I should have never drug you down that road.
I was the last one on and the first one off.
Yeah, she was like, I got to get off this S.
Well, it tasted like library
books. But we were
books.
all on it. We were on it hard, too.
Musty library books.
Yeah, it's like licking a Bible, like a dirty
books.
Bible.
And then you're like,
one time,
no
Bart Merrick walked in while I was taking a scoop, and I was like, I can never do this again.
He does it. He's fine.
Yeah, he was embarrassed.
Yeah, Bart knows. Bart knows his way around.
No, he caught me, and he goes, what does it taste like? I'm like, don't do it, Bart. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Bart's
don't
like,
let
I've heard that's a
client
gateway drug. I gotta tell you something, buddy. And you said something earlier on the segment when we did have Kratom Carey in here, and I want to apologize for making fun of your muscle milk. I'm serious. It may hurt my feelings that you said
I like
He did say I have to do all of my personal stuff outside, and it made me sad.
No, you shouldn't make fun of
No,
it.
you should be comfortable. You own. You're 50.
When you walked over to Publix, he chugged that muscle milk.
Did he? He hid in the bathroom.
He had to do it when you weren't here.
He can do it around you?
No.
Well, I don't care. I don't make fun of his muscle milk.
Yeah, but like
I just push it to the side.
He always says that we're gonna make fun of it.
No,
Yeah, but
I
he
have
lumps me in
never
with
made
you.
fun of it.
When Daniel says it, you laugh.
I have never made
Well.
fun of it. I just say like, who's drinking the muscle milk? I don't say it's bad.
Well, why then name it that? It's stupid.
It is a stupid
Just
name.
call it protein milk.
No, that sounds gross.
Just say
too.
protein.
Yeah, just make
But
it
baby
a white
streak milk. That's
Protein
why.
liquid.
Just make it nothing and just say protein 30 grams.
And you slam it. You hide in the bathroom. Do you sit on the toilet when you're drinking your muscle milk? Because I feel like you shouldn't. You should stand like a man. Can you why can't you just take a protein pill? Do they make that?
They don't make that. It's all the powder's too thick. It's too big. But you have to take so much of it. You have to either dilute it in some milk.
I found some protein pills right here.
Oh,
Protein
okay.
capsules, Amazon.
Amazon protein capsules.
Well, how much in each capsule?
Depends which one you want.
Yeah, what do you want? You get the 30 grams. You need 100.
Do you want?
He needs 175
Wait a
grams
minute.
of protein
They sell protein puffs, nacho cheese balls.
You need
Dude,
protein puffs.
come on.
You need protein puffs.
No,
Come on.
No.
Keto friendly.
No, get him the pills. How many? He needs
Twin Peaks low carb keto friendly
Twin Peaks.
Wow.
Those are the
This-
horny pills. He needs 175 lean protein. Right? You're doing your body weight.
No, I can't even take that much. It's so expensive too.
Muscle Milk's expensive. You're buying the most expensive name brand.
What about a protein bar?
No,
That's what I eat those too.
he eats the Quest, but
But
I
it's
don't know how you
all
make it through
candy
those.
bar.
But they're gross. They're chewy and it's like eating protein bars from
Well, when I
Quest
eat-
are
but-
like eating sad fudge. It's sad fudge.
But also, it feels like I'm eating a candy bar because it tastes like a candy bar. So I'm like, well, I want the protein. I don't need all this candy. It's like the weed candies. Like, you just give me the
pills.
THC. I
Yeah.
don't need the gelatin candies, the coating, the chocolates. I don't need any of that.
Well, then how many grams of protein are in these pills?
Gotta go
probably
through
like
each one.
Why don't
here.
you just cook
What if I
up-
gotta take so many?
Why don't you
Why don't you take these Vital Proteins grass-fed desiccated beef liver pills?
Yeah, beef liver. You'd be like Liver King. You're going to be Castleberry Liver King. Are you going to get big and grow your hair out? Because I know your wife loves your hair long.
No.
And she can be the liver queen. Have you seen the Liver Boys?
Has B12.
His
in
two sons?
it.
His two sons. You could be
Are
him.
they muscular?
No, they're real lean. They look like scrawny little string beans, but I think it's because if he got him on the juice like he's on, people would be like, "That's gotta be his Liver King." And
Oh, yeah.
And
They
he'd be
take his
like,
kids away.
"I'm sorry, bro, more," or whatever he says. He's a big dumb idiot.
How much money is that guy making?
A lot.
Easy.
I mean, enough to fly around and spend it on like dumb bear heads, and he's always sitting around some table eating testicles, and it's just at this point, I think he just enjoys the ego of being an influencer. I don't even think he's trying to change people or make them healthy.
No.
You know, which is sad. Like he may have started like, I want to make people healthy. I don't think he wants to. I think he
These
just
are
wants to.
jumbo pills.
Yeah,
How big are
too
these?
big.
They're
Big
boys.
beef livers.
Yeah. Are they your
know.
desiccated rat livers? You just swallowed out of 5 of them. How many grams of protein though?
I don't know. I'm trying to find all of the actual information, and it's like a bunch of garbage.
You need that goat
Which
protein
means it
that
probably
Seth
doesn't work.
takes. He takes a goat protein.
Well, he's doing something.
No, he takes
crazy.
goat. You ask him right now. He takes a goat. He gave me everything because about
Yeah, but
once
he works
every
out.
once every 3 months I decide I'm going to change my life, and then I get all the stuff, then I read it and I decide that it's too hard, and then I don't do it.
But I feel like all those things, and you know what? Because I always used to laugh at you for taking all the pills.
I still take
the
my
supplements.
I
and the
still take my
vitamins.
vitamins and stuff.
It used to be a baggie. It looked like
You made fun of me, so I got rid of the baggie.
Steve Aoki's glove compartment.
It did. Yeah, my baggie is your muscle milk.
And but anyway,
How many grams do you need
175.
well,
a day?
No,
Yeah.
just 30 at a time.
3 times a day? No, you got to do it 5 times a day.
These are only 2 grams of protein.
Yeah. See, you need a lot.
Well,
because
for this brand, I could
no,
do
if
some
it's-
research,
but that's
but you gotta
better
pay
than-
me for that.
like
But
the
that's
scoop-
better. No, 2
s-
grams. So you only got to take 60 pills. How many
That's
pills?
too much.
I want to do a challenge.
just drink my
I can
muscle milk.
They have
swallow-
protein chips.
I can swallow the most amount of pills at one time. You know I can swallow 15 pills at one time?
I've seen you do it with your bag.
I can take a handful of pills and put them in my mouth and just swallow it all down.
Protein pretzels. There's other options besides the milk.
Yeah, they got carbs in
Wow,
them. They
yeah.
just say protein on them because they have a few grams of
I
protein.
don't even know if it's gonna do anything. I don't think it will.
Where you're just trying to
Okay.
hold on to muscle mass and be as muscular as you can while you age,
That's
because it'll help your joints.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know if it will. I just read somewhere, and I talked to the trainer, and then I asked my doctor about this.
I think that's I think what you're doing
and
is
then
good.
and then-
I support it. That's what I'm trying to say.
if you go into old age holding some muscle on you, because it just decreases as you get older. You know, like and so.
Oh, I can feel mine falling off my body. I'm
Yeah.
dying. I can feel the
Yeah,
muscles
like,
falling off my
we're
body.
technically dying, right? As you get past whatever,
We're
30 years
constantly
old.
dying.
Yeah, and then it's like you just try to slow that down, or try to at least hold on to what you can if it's going to naturally deteriorate over time. I feel like going in there with a good base and then deteriorating down was better than with no base and then you deteriorate to a skeleton. I don't know.
Someone in the
yeah.
YouTube chat is suggesting tuna fish. Do not bring tuna fish here.
Yeah, I think that's what we need.
Unless you eat it out in your truck, then you're fine.
If you go hide in your truck and eat your tuna fish, that's a sad. I'll come out there and sit with you.
I'm thinking,
I'll go sit with you.
Making tuna fish sandwich.
You're mixing it in your
in my
hot
truck.
truck. Your truck's filthy, by the way. Tuna fish is really going to be an improvement.
Oh,
There'll
man.
be tuna
And you know
everywhere.
he'd leave the empty cans
Mayonnaise
there
and tuna,
stinks.
just bacon in the
All right.
sun. That place will smell like a goddamn fish store. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You gotta get on this tank too, by the way,
Yeah,
buddy.
what's wrong with our fish tank? It's
No,
pink
I gotta
and
text the
green.
guy. Yeah, it turned pink.
Yeah, Sam this morning, she goes, it's just supposed to look like this. And I was like editing or doing something. I'm like, yeah, I think it's okay. I walk out, I go, oh my God.
Thought I was over exaggerating.
I screamed because the whole bag of it looks like it has the virus. It looks like it has The Last of Us.
I'm mad at myself because.
Good, me too.
Well,
Can we switch it for the alligator tank?
Well-
We have a man from Gatorland who reached out to us, a sweet man, and he says, hey, I know you guys have a fish tank, but everybody has a fish tank. Would you be interested in swapping your fish tank for a live snapping baby gator experience? Like, we're going to go.
Can we have that? I
Yeah,
thought
we
this
can
was
have.
illegal
Oh,
now.
no, and we
I think
can
we have to get a
fill it.
license for it.
We can fill it to the brim with a bunch of them little jokers, little snapping jokers, I call them. Little snapping jokers.
But they grow fast.
Yeah, they crawl out. You got to put a lid on the top.
I remember this. My Uncle Billy had a.
They grow fat. You eat them 3 chickens in like a week, they're grown.
Listen. I'm mad that I never learned anything about this fish
It's
tank.
too complicated.
Well, it can't be that
It's
complicated.
too complicated.
Like,
The water
Start
changes.
listening to some podcasts on.
No, you can't make money on a fish tank.
He can't make money on his gambling either,
I
apparently.
know, but he needs something to lose money. If he could lose money on the fish tank, he'd probably be into it.
It's just why is it turning purple?
I've been putting food coloring in there.
What's the mold in there, or what is that?
I don't know. It looks bad though.
Because it's
Why
just,
don't we interview the guys from
No, too
Top
hard.
Shelf?
And the fish are sad. I can look in their eyes and tell that they're like, man, this ain't working
Well,
out.
they got a whole van, and then they vacuum the water out, and they put the fish in a bucket.
Yeah, they do
and
that.
clean
Have to
it.
do that for us every week. They're like, you guys did it again.
No, but
They must think we're the worst.
They do. They
But,
say it.
no,
they say it.
but-
I see them.
but
well,
they
the
didn't
first
tell
thing
me
they
like,
do,
hey, put these drops or anything.
It says pink algae can sometimes become overgrown in a saltwater fish tank
Yep.
if there is too much ammonia present in the
I've
water.
been
Who's
peeing in
peeing
there.
in the
I've
tank?
been swimming in there every afternoon. Me and Brendan O'Connor have been doing mermaid photos
Can we
in there.
just add some drops that get rid of it?
It's not a pool. There's animals in there.
Like, can we put some sort of crabs?
You can put the ammonia crabs in there. He's burping. Why'd you burp?
Jesus Christ,
Burned
man.
my nostrils.
You know why it burned your nostrils? Because you've been wolfing down this muscle milks too fast. You can't drink them that fast,
That
man.
was a damn poison.
Get rid of the fish tank and jokers. I want a whole tank. The guy told me
Hold on.
The guy
what
told
do
me we
people
could
look
do-
at it when we go and break?
alligators. They're going to look at the snapping jokers and they can name them. And the guy told me we can fit in upwards of 18 to 26 in there.
No, it's got to be only one.
We can put 18 to 26 baby jokers, little snappers, he calls them. And they're wild.
Is it going to be free? Are they going to come by and like?
Yeah, it's free.
Because that's
no,
really
once
gonna
they're
stink.
here, once they're here, they're here.
Because that is going to stink up the whole place.
Yeah, they have a pungent
What do you feed it? Like little.
you feed
mice?
them like you feed them like what are those things called? Cornish hens.
Well, that's
Every morning I'll come in here with a butcher block and I'll hack up a couple of Cornish hens and toss them in there to the little snappers.
Yeah, but then they're.
Let's get an ant farm.
No,
Nah, Maisie had one of those and I knocked it over and they all died. If you knock it over and they get like shocked, I knocked it over. I think I kicked it drunk and they were like, the kang, and then they're all dead. They froze in time. It's like Pompeii.
Well, they couldn't just like that's
They
all.
couldn't
it took.
take it.
Why?
I kicked it and I kicked it good.
Trauma, head trauma.
Yeah, it was trauma. They
No,
all
but ants
they
are
all
tough.
froze in time like Pompeii, and then it collapsed on them, like all the sand.
Yeah, but they could dig their way out.
No,
right?
they
The
They're
weight
never
of
did.
sand.
They were
an
tired.
instant weight hitting you. No.
Yeah, they were tired and they never recovered. And then we got some outdoor ants, and Maisie's like, "We'll just get these," and I'm like, "Those won't work, baby. You got the big bull ants in there,
Yeah,
and
oh,
as soon
yeah.
as she put them in there, like an hour later, they're dead.
yeah. They can't be caged.
No, they're wild. They're wild.
Anyway,
But the
I
gator
don't know
tank,
what
I'm
to
telling
do.
you, we put a gator cam on it.
people would like it, but I feel like that will significantly stink a lot more than the fish tank. Like we're gonna come in
Yeah,
here. We're
but
gonna
it's
be
got to eat like dead birds.
I mean,
and
I
stuff.
hear-
there's gonna be dead birds.
I
Carcasses
hear,
everywhere.
I hear
It's
what
gonna
you're
stink.
saying, but we're doing it. I'm kidding.
Also, how big of an aquarium do we need?
Well, it's gonna take up that. I mean, we're gonna
The whole couch?
We're gonna
Yeah,
no.
but
I'm
there's
knocking
a-
out the cabinets.
Okay.
The whole back end and the bathroom will be. There's going to be no bathroom. We're going to have to pee at the yoga place. I already asked her. She said it's fine. Just lightly knock.
We can walk to Publix.
Yeah. That's a nice bathroom. They got that one guy that he cleans it, but as he's cleaning it, he tells you he's cleaning it, which is awkward. You've seen that guy.
Yeah.
You go
Kyle
in there
Busch was convicted of having a gun in Mexico and sentenced to more than 3 years in prison.
The NASCAR driver?
Yeah.
Kyle Busch is in a Mexican prison? Oh, my God. He's as good as dead.
Hold on. Kyle Busch was in Mexico, and he had a gun.
On a family vacation, yeah.
And they put him in a Mexican prison. You know what? Dog the Bounty Hunter will get him out.
And I'm more surprised that owning a gun in Mexico is illegal.
Well, why would you need?
I thought that was
why would you
fine.
need to travel, Kyle
He said
Busch?
he accidentally
No, you didn't.
forgot.
No,
that
that's
he had
BS.
it.
Why
I
do you
don't
need
know.
a gun, Kyle? What are you doing? Why'd you need to carry a gun? Why would you need to do that? What are you, an idiot?
Well,
You can have people to protect you and your family that travel along with you. You're a multimillionaire. You're a super famous, mega famous NASCAR.
Yeah, but he's Kyle Busch.
You don't need a gun. No, what does he pull it out and show people? I have my gun, real Kyle Busch. You don't need to do that.
Well, a lot of these NASCAR drivers, I'm guessing, probably have concealed weapons permits. And
But my
carry
point
around
is,
guns.
you know that you can't just go anywhere. You can't even go into Buffalo Wild Wings and Castleberry with your gun. I've seen the sign.
Although I understand his mentality, because I remember when I walked into Tijuana with my friends, Logic Man Andy had that mace on his keychain, in which the federales told us this was illegal to own mace, which I'm pretty sure may or may not be true.
It's maize.
And-
corn. They call that corn.
And they were just trying to get us, they're like, this is a $100 fine. They just wanted money. But I think they could have arrested us for it, because
Well,
probably
they can probably do anything they want.
And it probably is written in Mexican law that owning or having mace on you or having a firearm.
It doesn't even need to be, right? Like they can just say, like, "Hey, let's have some fun with these kids and steal their money."
Once you're if you arrest Kyle Busch and you're a celebrity and it makes news, that has to be in the Mexican law that it's illegal, right?
They know what they're doing.
It can't just be like, oh, this
They
is
knew
a
it was going to
shakedown.
make the news. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Anyway, I wonder what do they do with that? So now you got Kyle Busch in your Mexican prison, right? Obviously, the local government doesn't want the headache of this or bad publicity or whatever, but they have to. They can't just blatantly, now it's a media,
You
say
can't let him out.
You can't let it because he broke
Pay
a
your
law,
fine,
right?
Kyle. And
But it's more than a fine. They have to go to trial.
No, he was already sentenced.
Oh, fast! The sentence
yeah,
the same
well, she
as
said what he's going to
No,
do.
it happened in early January, but he was sentenced this week. But it says he was sentenced. Sentenced last week. But according to the AP, the federal attorney general's office said that the judge decided to allow a conditional punishment and let Busch leave Mexico after he paid a bond. The office did not say how much he paid.
Okay,
So he's back here now.
Yeah, he paid his money. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You just pay your way out of it.
Because he had the
And
correct
just never
age.
go back to Mexico.
But if you were not Kyle Busch, if you were like Jerry Bush, you would probably not have the same go.
Yeah. You could pay your way out of it in Mexico.
Well, I'm saying if you didn't have the money.
If you didn't have the money, yeah. But then they kind of tell you a fine and then accept whatever you have. That's what I've learned in my experience with the Mexican police. They'll tell you an original fine and then end up just taking whatever money you have.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
It's kind of like a copyright troll. They'll come at you and say, give me 10 grand, and then you're like, you ignore them.
It's all trolls.
Then eventually it gets down to where they actually have to maybe muscle up or use a little bit of their attorney power, and they're like, how about $1,000, and we'll just call it a day.
Do you know anybody that has warrants out in different states that don't want to ever go back to that state?
I don't.
I knew
because I'm a normal, functioning, good citizen, and I don't do bad stuff.
There are situations where people I know plenty of my friends that have gotten especially in bands, they get tickets and stuff or
and
whatever,
then fail to appear.
to appear, and they'd have a warrant out for it, and they'd be in New Jersey, and they'd just be like, well, I'm not even gonna ever go back to New Jersey, so who cares?
Yeah.
But if I did go back there, I could be arrested because I still have an open warrant.
It's crazy how popular warrants are, and people forgetting them on it used to be Live PD, now it's called On Patrol. Yeah. It was pretty comical in the idea that this happened, but obviously, the acorn doesn't fall too far from the tree. You had a guy that was getting popped for his license being all screwed up, and he was in a car, and the cop's basically saying, you can't drive, but I'm going to be cool and let somebody come get your car. and then you can get picked up. But you can't drive anymore. I'm not going to give you a ticket or anything. He was being very cool.
That happens every once in a while.
Yeah, but the fact that he was not giving a ticket for anything and just saying, I'll let you get that straight, but you just can't drive anymore because I caught you. You know, like, I think that's pretty cool. So he's like, I'll just call my buddy. I'll call my buddy. His buddy didn't pick up. I'll call my brother. Calls his brother. His brother gets down there. He's like, okay, just got to see your license so you can take the motorcycle. Shows his license, runs it. You have a warrant, sir. Cuff him, put him in the back. And he's like, oh, my God, he can't take it. It was a motorcycle, too. He's like, he can't take the motorcycle. Like, the brother's now in jail. He's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. And then he's like, well, I'll call my mom. They call the mom. The mom drives down there. She's going to take the motorcycle or find somebody to drive it. They run her license. She had a warrant. It just kept going, and then I feel like I fell asleep before the end of it. There may have been another warrant, but it was like the guy, his brother had a warrant, and then the mom came and she had a warrant, and all three of them ended up getting arrested, and the motorcycle just sat there.
I wonder if this happens less because of how easy or how much more easy it is to communicate with people.
You mean like internet style?
Well, not only internet, but with people's emails and like text messages and things like that where like back in the day, I've known plenty of people that had warrants out for their arrest and didn't know it or like suspected it but didn't want to do the research because
Tuttle, our buddy Tuttle. He had a warrant out for his arrest for tolls, right? And he didn't know he had that warrant.
It was back in the day where you get enough toll violations and then they send you bills or whatever.
His
then they send you
really bad.
a notice to appear.
He had a lot of
but then that's happened to me where they took my driver's license or they suspended my license because of toll violations. Like it used to be a thing, bad at life people, it happened all the time where you get these like notices or whatever, you ignore them and then all of a sudden you got some sort of notice to appear in court.
But I mean, there are those of us that just wouldn't run tolls too. Like if I didn't have the money, I would just be like, I can't go on that road, you know?
Well, you don't realize it until you pull up to the toll. And you've done that move where you ask them, like, can you fill out a receipt? Yeah, they do that, but they hate doing it, and it backs up the
they're
thing.
tooting the horns.
So it's better just to pull up to the toll and pretend like you're looking around, and then you do the I don't have any money.
Oh, that way you're on camera. I'm being a good person. I'm sorry. I'm normally a good person, camera.
You do the move.
Dude, you are the craziest person on the show.
Or you do the move.
Dump your wallet out.
You hold your hat.
No, you pull your hair.
Pull your pockets out like the little scamp.
Yeah.
You pull your
they
pockets
can't see
out
your
like
pockets.
You sit up like Charlie Chaplin. Pull your pockets out like the little tramp.
You just go, I don't know. You pull your hair.
Then you point to your hand. You hold your wallet. You point to it. And you go, Achiwa, no mare.
And then you drive away.
No dinero.
And then and like it goes off.
Yeah, I'm sure that you hauling ass doesn't show them that you don't give a.
Well, they already got you, and then they take a picture.
Do you think they look at the picture of you putting your hands up, going, "I'm a good person," and they're like, you know what? He's a good person.
I wonder if they caught on to just dropping your tailgate down, and then you could run as many tolls as you want. They can't take the picture because the tailgate blocks your.
I don't know.
Your license.
I remember
tag.
that.
I wonder if they lowered the cameras so they could see, or they waited for.
I wonder if they're on to me.
Mississippi. I don't know, but that used to be a trick. You just drop your tailgate, and then you can run as many tolls as you want.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember buddies that we'd be going somewhere, and they'd go, "Oh, hold on, pull over, drop the tailgate, and then we continue because we're going to take a 408 or whatever."
Anyway.
E-Pass?
Oh yeah.
E-Pass now. Everybody E-Pass here now.
Yeah. And now I don't think they do the whole thing where if you run a toll and then they send you like a $30 fine, and then every time you don't pay that, then it goes up, up. Then suspended license, then notice to appear, then warrant out for your arrest over some 75-cent toll because it caused so many problems. So I think they just tack it on to your actual. Your license, your tag.
Yeah, they changed
so
it.
Every year, if you have a bunch, you have to pay that when you renew your tag.
Yeah, you know, it's like interesting. I was going through obviously I'm doing the scooter project and putting that electric motor into my 1959 Vespa. And I was getting out all the paperwork and like looking at everything. And inside the paperwork, I'd forgotten I'd done this. I was digging through everything, and I saw like the VIN number for my machine, but then I see my my registration. And I'm looking at my registration, I'm looking at the VIN number, and it's correct, but it says on the piece of paper from Florida, it says 1960 Vespa, and it's not a 1960. It's a 1959 VBA, which was really only made for 3 years, from 1957 to 1960, right? I know it's a little scooter nerdy. Also kind of cool that my bike was only made for 3 years. But anyway, and Andrea reminded me of this, in order to get this done, because I have the original engine and the original body, and a lot of people piece them together.
You had to go to Texas or
I had to send it digitally to Louisiana because I had to get a magistrate in Louisiana, which is basically a judge. I had to sell him the bike for like $1.50 or whatever the charge was. It was like it was like a charge, and then obviously a service charge of like $75. But I had to sell him the bike, and then he was able to title it in Louisiana, and then sell it back to me, and then I go to Florida and retitle it. Because it didn't have a paper title. Yeah, it never had a paper title. So in order to do it, I had to...
Stupid, right? All these hoops you got to go through?
It's actually kind of like... It's kind of crooked. It's a little weird. It's a little...
Well, they're using a loophole.
You're using a loophole in order because, like, there was no paper title to this bike, and in a lot of ways people will be like, well, could it be stolen? Like, who knows, you know? Like, so I had to, like, create one.
To be able to get a tag so you could drive it on the streets, you have to go through, like, you know, it has to be a titled vehicle.
It's big business
before they could put a tag on. Or
they have a whole website now. It's super nice. When I did it, you had to like write to them, send them a check, you know. But like now, it's like a whole website.
There used to be some loophole where you'd claim that the vehicle was built, like you built it from the ground up, and then you title it like basically a vehicle that you built yourself, and then
like experimental or
whatever it is. Like they do it with trailers too. Like where if you didn't have a trailer or you didn't have a title, you could like title it as a rebuilt.
I think I could have done that, but the idea was though I wanted that, and this is just my own being vain. I wanted that blue antique tag. And the only way to get that would be able to try and get it legitimately registered under like a number, you know, because I think if you register things self-built, it goes for the year it's made. So it'd be like a 2023.
Gotcha. So you wanted specifically...
Yeah, I wanted it to be the 59 because in that world, if you're like driving it around and stuff and people see it, they're going to be like, well, what is this experiment?
Yeah.
No, it's a 1959.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but it also cost me, you know, a decent amount of money, but a bunch of silly hoops you had to jump through to do it. But anyway, we got to get out of here.
All right, we will see you tomorrow.
All right, nice job.
Cool.
It's funny too because we were doing this, you could tell when we were running out of gas. We were like, oh. But that was
we did a lot of recording today.
We did.
Yeah.
I can feel it in my voice.
All week we have.
Where's this go, Sam?
That is Wednesday 3 and 4.
We have 1 and 2, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we can run our mouths. That's for sure. There you go. Holy moly. Hey guys, what's up?
How you doing, Tom? Good to meet you.
Tracy,
How you doing?
Hi,
Daniel.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, Tracy.
Nice
Pleasure.
to meet
This
you.
is Samantha.
Hi, Samantha.
Hey, what's up? How you doing? No, all
Jeff
good.
and Casey.
Jeff,
Sorry.
good to see you. Casey, good to see you, man. I'm gonna hit the restroom real fast.
No worries.
Grab a seat.
No, today
Where would
was
you like me
Tracy, you can sit right over there.
Okay.
Corner.
today was
Perfect.
a day of meetings and deadlines. So
Every day.
yeah,
It's that.
and none were very forgiving today.
Perfect. We're probably gonna air this on Monday.
Okay.
We think that it'll have the most impact week of.
Okay.
Anyway, that's
But obviously live on our
it'll
Twitch
be
and
live
YouTube
now
today.
and everything, but it'll go on the radio and podcast Monday.
That sounds great. No, that's fine. We're just
Cool.
trying to get buzz. This is interesting for us because we've got the big 4-day event, and then you've got the
Adults
adult
only,
night,
yeah.
and it's hard to keep it. It's hard
Yeah.
to keep them both straight.
Yeah. We've been advertising it like, the event's on the weekend, but this specific night is adults only, and then that's a separate ticket. And
That's the best way to do it.
Yep.
And Tracy's only at the adult night.
yeah,
Okay,
the keynote
great.
speaker.
So only on the 18th.
Yes. So I can make dirty jokes.
And
All
your last name
right.
is pronounced Fanara.
Yes.
Okay.
What's your tattoo?
My tattoo? Oh, it they got a boat and an anchor and a star deal
Yeah,
thing.
it's really cool. I saw the waves, and I'm thinking of doing like waves around
Oh, cool.
my arm.
Do
I've
it.
been doing a lot of fake tattoos and getting kind of.
Do it.
All right, yeah. Daniel's got
Oh yeah,
bunch
look
of
at
them.
you.
Well, he's a stinky old dog with tattoos all over me. Old man. All right, Mr. Van. Let me make sure all of our cameras look pretty. Yep, that looks good. I gotta fix our 2-shot here. Thanks again for coming in, y'all. Jeff, you been good, man?
Yeah, just busy.
Busy. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, but you guys know what that's like running from one event to the next.
Yep,
event,
we do.
so-
Let me just get this water.
And I was gonna say, it's your fault, man. Look at all these fun events you're
Yeah,
planning. It's
yeah,
all
I
you.
know, I'm a victim of my
You're,
own success.
exactly. You're doing it. You're doing it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
been
no,
looking
but-
good though.
No, it's fun, and we're getting this one's just big, and it's kind of hard to describe because it's so big. So I appreciate you guys' help.
Well, the members that I know, because we've been members for so long, a lot of those guys didn't even know you could go. So it's-
Yeah, that's the thing that gets
just
me.
getting the word out's hard. We get the same thing with like the library when we try to when we tell people once a month, I'll get somebody that'll actually write me and say like, hey, I didn't know that I could take my kid down there, and they had all this stuff, like we had some projects or something to do, and it was like taking them to like a computer lab. I'm like, yeah, we've been telling you guys this for years, just you guys don't use all the good stuff. So
Yeah, we get that a lot with these events that they get for free. They think they're add-ons.
Right.
So
All right, Mr. Van, would you like to begin?
Sure.
Okay, and where is this going? Just so I
We'll
know.
do
Monday
Monday
3.
3.
Do we have a time on it? 20?
No, we're open.
Great.
So-
All right, here we go. And 3.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time. So I know we've been talking a lot about the Orlando Science Center Spark STEM Fest.
We
which
have
is
indeed.
happening February 17th through the 20th. And that's, of course, science, technology, engineering, math. Good for the whole family.
Yeah,
And-
it's good for everybody, but there's also an adult component if you maybe you're like Sam and you want to swing through for some drink.
Yes, happening at night, and that's February 18th on the Saturday.
Yes, sir.
And that's a time where you can hang out in the Orlando Science Center and have some drinks
Yeah.
and walk around and experience STEM Fest with being an adult. And there's
Yeah.
there's some key speakers, and there's more adult topics.
Yeah, and we actually get to talk to the keynote speaker of the night on the 18th, the adult night, which is the one that I'm urging everybody to snag your tickets for.
Yep, Tracy Fanara is with us today. How you doing, Tracy?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate you being here.
So, Tracy, you'll be speaking.
It's Dr. Tracy, right?
Oh, is it?
I feel like
Dr.
we're
Fanara?
supposed to say that,
Should we-
right?
I-
Maybe the
Some
first
respect.
time around, but from,
Sorry,
from this,
No, not
this
your
point
fault.
on.
I was looking at the paper and I was like, oh my God, we forgot the doctor part, and I just want to be respectful.
Yeah, you're right. That is.
You know.
I'm.
It's
apologize
okay,
about
Discovery.
I didn't know if it was like it was a big deal, but yeah, and you are a doctor of.
Engineering, environmental engineering.
Yeah, that is. You know what? We will never be. We'll never have a title like that because podcasters started as a goof and is still a goof. It's just a goof now. Have you seen the new movie with Jonah Hill? They just show you how goofy podcasters are. It's the whole thing is making fun of podcasters.
Oh, yeah. Well, they needed to make that.
I should have been
movie.
I should have been an
It's
environmental
ridiculous.
engineer. Like I should have done something good.
So, tell us about some of the stuff that you're gonna talk about
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
the
I mean,
adult.
I think what you're talking about right now is a perfect segue
Okay.
because there's no timeline or end date to goals and dreams and all of that. So, I mean, you can be a PhD in environmental engineering if you really wanted to. I
Well,
mean,
not now. I
Not
couldn't,
now,
Tracy.
no.
I could.
Yeah.
Like,
No, look at me,
I-
Tracy. Tracy, look at my body.
I'm not
can't do
joking.
it. I can't do it.
I help my 9-year-old third grader son with his homework, and I have to look it up on Google how to do it.
Yeah.
I'm reading these math problems.
I can't do them.
And then I'm like, well, and then I have to lie to him and be like, I know the answer. Let me just make sure that I'm telling it to you in the right way. and then I have to look it
Yeah,
up.
I just sound like any.
Because I don't want them to know that their old man can't even help them with a 3rd grade homework.
And I sound like any like Midwestern farming dad. And this isn't a knock, but I just kind of look at Maisie and I go, "Did your mom help me with your homework?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go outside." I'm a good Midwestern farm dad.
Yeah,
I keep the farm running.
Yeah,
I make sure all the chicks and the cows and everybody's good, but I don't know a thing about math.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you are closer to environmental engineering than 99% of the people in this country being a farmer.
Okay.
I
That's
mean,
me.
think about it. You have to keep your land clean. You have to provide food, clean water, clean air.
Yeah.
Like all the things that environmental engineers are known for.
What made you decide to go into that direction? You know, you're choosing, you're picking your school, or maybe you're like, have you always had sort of a passion for that?
Great question. I actually didn't know about the field of environmental engineering until I fell into it. But what started me on this path was back in 4th grade. A teacher was telling me about a hazardous waste dump site where an industry was dumping chemicals into a canalway, and those chemicals were leaching into the soil and into the water. And that chemical company sold the land to a school district for $1. And so the school was built, houses, schools, you know, the
You're
whole
like
thing.
Aaron Brockovich.
Yes, cancer clusters and the
You're
the
saving
whole
lives, man. That's cool.
Well, yeah. I mean,
so
this
your
is,
teacher tells
this
you
is
about
4th
this,
grade, so
and you
I
get
didn't do much about
inspired,
it.
or were you terrified? Were you like, I have to do something about this?
I was inspired. You know, like you realize that you have an impact on your own health. You know, everything that we put into the environment eventually comes back to affect us. And even though it happened before I was born, and actually that incident, it's called Love Canal, started the EPA Superfund program.
It's called Love Canal?
Yeah, Love Canal, but it wasn't lovely.
Yeah,
The irony of that, right? And it's
awesome.
normally like that, right? That's the way it works out to
Right.
make it like, oh my
Right.
God. And that's the punchline on a horrible story
Right.
about the environmental disaster that.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole thing comes back to Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, which is crazy to think about.
Oh, he's got a Tesla.
That's not that. No, don't talk about it.
That's how stupid we are, Tracy. I'm sorry.
I had
Like,
a
ooh, a Tesla, a name I know.
A Tesla saved my life. And I mean, I had one too. I got hit, and it looked like nothing happened on the inside. So I'm a big fan of the car.
They're
and,
hardy. Yeah, they're
and
hardy.
the inventor.
So, Tracy, like, are you shocked at how little people know about science? And I feel like going back to I can't do my son's 3rd grade homework.
Yeah.
Like they'll know every flavor of White Claw at the science night. You know, like when they're at Science Night Live, they'll know every flavor of White Claw, but they won't know anything about science.
I feel like
which is kind of sad.
It's like language. Unless you practice it every day, you're gonna forget it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you
I was on Duolingo for like 2 days.
if you want, you know, if to be bilingual,
Me too.
Hard.
you have to practice it. And I feel like most adults, right after they get out of school or whatever education they got, they go and fall into their day-to-day
You
lives.
gotta make money.
And then they go to their jobs and they do the same thing every day. And then you lose all that ancillary knowledge that you gained in school, all the math and science and things, you know, the general knowledge you learned. And then, but you're really good at whatever you do, right? You're a landscaper or whatever, that you're driving a truck.
Yeah.
Like, you know everything about that, but you've lost everything else because you didn't practice it. And then you all of a sudden you're 40 years old and you can't help your son with his homework
My
anymore.
God, man.
because
Are
don't
you trying
know.
to depress Tracy?
No,
Do
well,
you think
here's
a lot
the
of
thing.
people fall into that category?
I'm gonna let you in on a little bit of secret. That happens with scientists too. And we just have to keep on teaching ourselves and looking at the new research and building on science. But the big thing is that when you go through school, what you're really learning is how to learn and how to think for yourself. And that's the important thing, to take those skill set and apply it to whatever career you go into. But a better understanding of how the world works, where your water comes from, where it goes when you flush the toilet, will help you be a better steward for our environment as you grow up.
I've never seen like I'm. You said toilet. I'm such a baby. I started laughing inside. You find?
Hey, we drink our pee too, so I'm just
God,
gonna throw that out
Don't
there.
say that.
Yep.
Also,
Don't say that, Tracy.
I assume once I flush it, it goes to the center of the earth.
Yeah.
I don't
My
know
dad
where it
told
goes.
me it goes in the devil's mouth. But we were very, I grew up very traditional,
Like,
snake handling Baptist.
Like once it leaves my house, I'm not concerned of where it goes.
Right.
Exactly.
And I feel like
my dad was like, it goes right directly in the devil's mouth. He's down there with his pinnacle.
he's chomping it.
Yeah.
But like even the recycling the water, like what we do as a society is like, speaking to engineering, the way we've engineered our society, it's
I'm
amazing.
a massive aqueduct fan.
Well, it's amazing what we're able to do and how everything stays running and what we're able to recycle, the things we can. Obviously,
Look
we
how
can do way
positive he
more.
is. He's never this positive.
But you go to like city engineering and like even like how we engineer all our water and our electrical grid and stuff. It's crazy, and then we don't even know how
You
it
sound
works.
like the ICP song. You're like, look at how does this stuff work? It's amazing. It's miracles. Are you an ICP fan?
No,
Like the
come
Insane
on.
Clown Posse?
Wow, I haven't heard that name in a
know.
long
We
time.
bring it up
They're
all the time.
done.
I'm not
They're
even
done.
sure why.
They're done. They
Tracy.
stopped touring because Violent J has a heart problem. He's congenital heart defect. So
Oh, that's
it's
so
so
sad.
horribly sad. The makeup is dead.
So Tracy, what are you like often shocked by that people don't know? Like when you tell them like, "Hey, this piece of information," either they don't believe it or like they're surprised that what you're telling them is fact.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the one fact that really shocked me so much that I put it in my dissertation was the fact that people didn't realize in the state of Florida, every single drop of rain that falls on the ground goes to our natural water body. We do not have some magic fairy that takes that water when it goes down the storm sewer and like cleans it and puts it anywhere. It goes right to our natural water bodies. And so I think understanding that, knowing that will, help you not throw garbage out of your car window, because that becomes the habitat for the animals that we depend on, our water sources, and us.
It's always depressing when like you go to some beautiful natural spring and then you don't know any better.
Sitting right in the Butterfinger wrapper.
Well, not only that, there's green algae everywhere, like downstream, like crazy green, and you just assume like, oh, it's natural, and like, no. That's from like people like fertilizing their lawn, all the nitrogen basically, and like farming, and then keep your lawn green, and all these different companies that spray it with nitrogen because that's what plants love.
And
it
phosphorus,
keeps phosphorus, and then it just falls down into our our water system.
And we have tons of weird invasive plants that are here that shouldn't be here, and then strange things that we're we're having to battle.
Oh, my buddy Andres loves peacock bass. That's an invasive species.
Yeah,
with all the real
with a little symbol on the tail. Yeah, he's always holding them up.
How many invasive species? Like before my grandfather passed, he told me that because he had a place out in the Everglades for 30 years.
The drug smuggler.
And he saw. Don't talk about it. I'm saving for a BDM show one day.
Yep.
He told me, he's like, man, the snakes ate everything. He's like, there's no more small rodents or animals, bunnies.
Yeah.
Like he's like, they ate everything. I'm like, they'll pop up. You're exaggerating. He's like, I don't see an animal in the Everglades anymore. He's like, they ate everything. And I'm like, oh, it can't be that bad.
It's that bad.
It's that bad.
Yeah, it is that bad. And for a hard man, like he was a strong, hardy man.
Yeah.
He loved his animals. He had those, what were his geese or whatever? They would go, like he was an animal guy.
No, they were the, what are the egrets?
Yeah, but
they came by.
But that's the thing is that like
that was the weakest thing I saw him do. that took him down a notch.
Yeah,
the fact that he loved these egrets so much, I'm like, well, how hard are you, sir? I thought you were the toughest man I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's a heart inside.
But invasive species have caused a horrible travesty to all of Florida, especially the Everglades. And like I said, it has devastated the Everglades. And that's all because someone let loose one of their pet pythons, and then
probably a guy from Daytona Beach. they got a lot of pythons in Daytona.
Multiplied. Same thing with lizards too.
Yeah, and Hurricane Andrew coming through let a whole bunch loose that they were at a breeding ground for pets, and that really kind of initiated a huge increase in numbers.
You still see parrots driving or flying around in
But
Miami.
I like that. I like the parrot.
And the iguanas. The iguanas aren't native either.
Yeah. But then we get those memes where it gets a little cold and they're like, watch out, iguana falling season. I get a little joy out of that.
Well, I've never understood.
Those are my favorite energies.
Yeah, it makes it all work.
I'm an animal lover. You know this, but I've never understood why we don't kind of just... If they're not supposed to be there and we want to get
There's
rid
too
of
many.
them...
Oh, there's open killing season.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We're
Iguanas?
trying to encourage people to eat iguana.
Yeah.
Okay, is it good? It's like, has anybody here had
Apparently, if you fry anything, it's
it? Sure.
tastes
Or
like
grind
chicken.
it like a burger, right?
Yeah.
Grind
No
it,
one's-
get some of the
yeah.
salty sisters and make a smash burger.
There's just too many. Same thing with like the pythons out in the Everglades. Like
Oh,
they
the
try,
pythons,
they
we
try to
can't.
do like put up awards, and DeSantis will get out there in his white boots and be like,
Yeah.
$1 million to whoever kills the biggest python, and you get some locals, some rednecks out there. They'll kill a handful of them, but you're like, you're not even doing anything. Like,
No.
you understand the mileage of this place? Like, there's too many. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
You're only killing them off
Well,
the side of A Street.
is that
Like,
something
there
that-
are hundreds of miles in there. There are trillions of them.
As
He's 100% right.
Yeah, well, as a scientist involved
No one's
in
ever
this...
said that about anything Tom's ever said.
No, I know.
I like Tracy.
I
Me
know.
and Tracy can do our own podcast about the environment.
He does like her a lot too. I can tell. Like,
Oh, I know.
he's happy. He's happy
Yeah,
that
that
she
guy's
like
gonna beat you up out there.
somebody's actually talking to him. You know, like normally the guests are like he gets her name wrong. Right? This is actually going well, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah.
like Sam's over there trying to bully you. You're gonna let that happen?
I knew I was right.
As a scientist around here, and you're seeing what Florida's up against. What is our biggest problem? What's the biggest one for us? Because like most people that listen to the show, the one thing that I hear from almost all of them that are like true Florida podcast listeners are guys, we love Florida. I mean,
Yeah.
it is something we all have in common. Most of our listeners are like, we have a ton of outdoorsmen. The outdoorsman group that we have is flourishing with people
It's
fishing and
beautiful.
hunting. It is. It's a
Yeah.
paradise. What do you think our biggest problem is right now? Because there are a lot.
I mean, and this is kind of a lame, like, way out of answering this question specifically, but water is
Yeah.
the one thing that we need to survive, our water quality and land development, our chemicals, how we are basically manipulating the water cycle and changing it. Has caused us a slew of problems, from algae blooms to saltwater intrusion and sinkholes. We have mining going on. We have, farming going on, which I'm not against farming. I'm just against, irresponsible farming.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, if
yeah.
you're over farming, or if you're,
Yeah.
farming to the point of you're killing the ground or whatever you're working at, or if,
Or the stuff you're adding.
Overproducing.
Yeah.
or if
Yeah.
you're
I
making what are those red slaughtered lakes, that are like leaching back. Like it's just you can't do that.
I only know what my pop would bitch about the Everglades, but he was like, "Oh, the government's trying to take away our camps, and it's the sugar farmers, the sugarcane farmers, that's the problem. They're ruining the Everglades, not
Yeah.
us."
Oh
And
my
he's
God, this sounds like Florida Yellowstone.
It was like that
Yeah.
because the government was taking away all their camps that they had out there, and they're like,
Hold on, write that idea down. I'm gonna write that. Florida Yellowstone with like some swamp boys and some airboats and stuff. People would love it.
And then they were like,
I agree with that,
right?
actually.
People would love that.
But his argument was like, we love this environment, we want to preserve it and stuff, like we do hunt.
These
and
people are
stuff
going
like
to
that.
destroy it with their sugar cane.
But everybody is villainizing us, and it's really the giant corporations that are diverting the flow of the natural Everglades.
It's Domino.
And-
Isn't that a sugar
yeah.
brand? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Big Domino.
Because I guess the sugarcane farm, you have to divert water and stuff, and then it's caused horrible problems.
Oh, yeah, and then they promised to sell their land back, or a percentage at least, and then went back on that deal. So there's a lot of history when it comes to everything south of the Everglades. And people started building houses, or buying land, south of the Everglades, or south of Lake Okeechobee, rather. I'm sorry, 100 years ago. And then when they came down, it was all swampland. So what they did was build a wall. And it worked for a while, and then there was a hurricane, and the wall broke, and then there was another hurricane in 1928, and thousands of people lost their lives. That's when the Army Corps of Engineers came in to fix the problem, and they fixed it engineering-wise, but not water quality-wise. And, I mean, back then we had a lot less people here, too. So what they did was put a big wall there, so now when Lake Okeechobee fills up, the water is diverted to the east, St. Lucie, and to the west, Caloosahatchee.
I read some article about like the water problems they're having out west, and like there's something super depressing about some of the big lakes that
Let's
are
end with super depressing.
basically reservoirs for to get water. They use the water, they collect it from the Colorado River basically, and they're drying up. And we've seen all the memes and
Lake Mead.
Lake Mead. It's like they're like, this is where it was in 2001, and you're like, whoa!
I don't like looking at those memes.
2 football fields down, like they have this long concrete boat ramp, and it's like.
Even the Mississippi had drought problems last year. Like, it's crazy.
And then, of course, they had all that crazy rain. But people don't realize, like, oh, it solved the problem. But, like, no. All that rain just gets washed off to the ocean. There's no way to collect. They didn't have to build some way to collect trillions of gallons of water and then refill the aquifers.
It's the world's largest Homer bucket.
It's like that it doesn't work like that. It's like this problem is going to continue and stuff, which I always assume, like, that whoever engineered this at the beginning, like, foresaw.
Yeah, why didn't you think of everything?
But it's like, of course, like 20 years ago, they didn't have this problem, so they didn't see like what would happen in 20 years if we had record low rainfall and stuff, and like now we have this problem. Same thing with Florida. Like we were like, we get these hurricanes all the time, and then we get all this water, and we're like, oh, well, we're fine with water. We're lousy with water. There's too much water, and it's like, no, all that water gets washed away pretty fast, and then we're stuck with what we have, which
Do you think Dr. Tracy could fix our fish tank?
So yes,
I thought about that actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking about it. Can we ask? Can I call you Dr. Tracy? I feel like that's just nicer. It's like we have like an animal expert, or like just like science expert. Can we have Dr. Tracy?
She has an expertise ranging from ocean science, stormwater, hydrology and design, community science, tech development, water treatment, and harmful algae. That's what's going on in
I
our
was going to read all of that. You put it in the chat room, and they were reading it. By the way, the chat room is super impressed with you, and they just think you're awesome. But do you
thanks,
think that Dr. Tracy could tell us whether or not she thinks it's a good idea for us to get what I want? We have a guy that said he will take our fish tank out and put in an alligator enclosure.
No, that's
18 little snappers. 18
No,
of
That's
these
not what you were
little-
saying last segment. Now I have Dr. Tracy.
Yeah.
in
No,
there.
Dr. Tracy's in
I
here. She
know.
complimented your tattoo.
No, you can't just
One
have
tattoo complimented. This guy's like, oh, my little partner's an idiot.
No,
Don't sell me
You
out.
can't have
Bros
gators.
before hoes, man.
No, you can't have gators. It's in
Should I have
enclosure.
a gator? Can we have a gator enclosure?
No. come on.
Personally, I don't
18
think
snappers.
that alligators make very good pets. But my friends, I've helped my friends down south capture gators and put them in conservation areas, and they are strong. They're very
Hardy.
strong.
They're hardy animals.
And I would take a shark over a gator any day.
That's what we need. We need
Any day. I'll
we
tell
need
you
a
what, I've
hardy
worked with
animal
both.
because the fish tank's too delicate. It's got pink algae in it. It's got pink and green algae in it.
Oh yeah, that gator will survive a lot of things. But
Yeah, we can leave the lights on or leave the heat on. It won't even matter. He's hot.
They're tough.
fine.
They're
Just throw a
dinosaurs.
chicken in there before you leave.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Let's work on the fish tank. Is it saltwater or freshwater?
It's salt
It's
water.
salt
We
water.
made the mistake.
Oh!
We made the mistake of and then we told the guys, we're like, just give us the full deal.
Right.
We thought it was easy.
Yeah.
You went
and-
from 0 to 60.
And they're like, do
in
you
like
want?
1 second.
They're like, have you had one before? We're like, of course we have. And they're like, well, can you do a specialty fish? We're like, yes, idiot. We can do anything. We're the best. And then they gave us everything, and everything died. And now we have two fish.
Tracy, I will end with this. And again, Spark STEM Fest, February 17th through 20th.
Indeed.
And the
She'll specifically be at the Science Night Live
Yeah,
on the
I
18th.
mean, the one that Sam's going to, so Sam will get to see her while she's having a delicious beverage, an adult beverage, in fact.
Yeah, get your tickets. They're $19. And Jeff, are they're $19 for everybody, or if you're a member, is that?
Here's the greatest deal,
Okay.
Tom. If you're a member, you get Science Night Live as part of your membership. You don't have to pay anything.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get to go
Yeah.
free. That's what I've been saying.
Okay.
So if I go with Sam, since my family has been members since the baby was a baby, which, by the way, if you got a baby, if you don't sign up, you're not the smartest person I know. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it. If you got kids, it's the best thing in the world. My daughter has grown up at the Science Center, and yeah, I just get to slide on in. I get to go.
So if you're a member, you can go to Science Night Live, and then that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
it's
then-
pretty neat.
And then with obviously drinks and then all the other stuff, like give us an example of the other stuff at Science Night Live.
Okay, well, Science Night Live, it's going to run from 8 to 11:30 that night, the 18th, in addition to Tracy's keynote address, which is going to be awesome. You've got a lot of other great experts. You've got Jimmy Waldron, host of Dinosaurs Will Always Be Awesome, who is Conan O'Brien's favorite dinosaur podcast.
There you go.
He's going to be there talking about dinosaurs. You're going to have We Flip, which is an acrobatic group that incorporates science into their shows.
That's cool.
So they're doing all these flips, and they're using it to explain Newton's law of gravity and physics. You're going to have
That's really cool, man.
cash bars. You're going to have food stations. There's going to be all the exhibits from the Science Center, plus all these special guests. You know, you're going to have some folks from NASA there. We're going to have some really cool guys from Faro who do these 3D imaging. They're the guys that go into, like, archaeology digs, and they do the scans of the dig.
Dope.
So you can image all that without disturbing the site.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really awesome night. And for like $19, you can't beat it.
Yeah, you can't. And that's the type of stuff that they were doing at Greenwood Cemetery when they were having to image the entire underneath so they couldn't disturb any of the caskets, but they wanted to see how they were situated. Remember, they were telling us about that, and they were using the 3D imaging.
Yeah,
and they scanned the entire ground so they could tell and not disturb the actual tombs. It's crazy, man. This is awesome.
So
I'm super
cool.
excited
It's
about
gonna
it.
be very cool.
And
There's
now I
gonna-
don't have
yes.
to do the flips because someone else is.
Yeah.
She'd been
Yeah.
practicing, but
I
we worked
know.
it out.
Have you seen them? I haven't seen those guys, but
no, I
I'm
haven't.
interested in like guys that will describe like Newton's law as they're flying through the air. I'm into that.
Tracy, are manatees still endangered? It seems
that's
like they're
random.
not. Well, because I remember they were in danger when I was a kid.
Right.
I
And-
look into their eyes and they don't look endangered.
Well,
They
everybody.
look happy. And
And I'm talking the 80s. Like, it was
Yeah.
a big, and I
yeah, they
adopted
had
a-
mustaches
You're
in
right.
the 80s.
They're-
one of my teachers, my mom paid $10, and I got to name a manatee, and
What'd you name it?
And we colored it, and then it was like.
I hope you named it Redmond.
You adopted. I think
You named it.
It was like Stu.
Stu the manatee.
and it was like, but now, like 30 years
Yeah.
later.
That's a good question. Where are we at
You're
with
back-
manatees?
We're back there.
Are
And
we back?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've had a severe mortality event for the past couple years, and the reason is, we put on these protections on manatees, got their populations back, and then destroyed their habitat.
But
and
it's big farms doing it. It's not the boaters. Because
Well-
I feel like they blame it all on the boaters. and
This
they,
is all about you.
Yeah,
I knew
I
it was
mean-
a selfish question.
And they put
Here's the
slow
thing.
speed
I knew it was
everywhere.
it's a
It's like,
selfish question.
does it have to be slow speed for 10 miles? Like, you can't be
Yeah.
that far.
Your argument
So-
is there's enough of them
Well,
that if I chop a few as I'm rolling through.
It's the sugarcane farmers. That's all I'm saying. They're the problem. The boaters, we love the environment. Sorry.
I mean, as sad as it is, the way that we identify manatees is by their scars, and boaters are still a big threat. However,
I have a lot of scars.
However,
too.
this anomalous mortality event has really come down to loss of seagrass and one of their most important waterways on the east coast, the Indian River Lagoon, has had a complete biome regime shift. So basically, everything that used to be in that river has now shifted, and it's dominated by algae blooms that basically choke everything else. So it's really high in nutrients because things that used to uptake nutrients are no longer there. So the seagrass is basically outcompeted, and that's what they come inland during those winter months. They're huge. You think that they have a lot of fat, but they're mostly intestine. They don't have a lot of fat, which is why they come inland where the water is 72 degrees all year round in our
I
springs.
didn't know manatees are mostly intestine.
Yeah.
That makes them disgusting.
Right.
Ew.
Well, I mean, think
What?
about it. All
I
they
mean,
eat
I
is
wa-
grass.
Oh, God, I want to smack them in the head now when I say them. Yuck, you're an
Well, it's like
intestine
cows
monster.
have so many stomachs because
Oh, God, don't talk
Same
about
thing.
it.
Same thing.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
going to make
Yeah.
me throw up.
Yeah, because what they're eating, there's barely any nutrients, so they need lots of chambers to suck as
You know,
much out
the
as possible.
science video that I remember from school that has never left my head. It's buried in my head. There was a video, and we still had film strips. It was like, like it was a cow, and then what they had done is they had sewn on the side of it like a screw top.
Yeah.
So you
Oh
can
my gosh, I saw that in
unscrew
a
it.
video. I can never
Yeah.
unsee
Gross.
that.
I saw it as a kid. And you
No.
could unscrew the cow's
Yep.
stomach,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you could reach in. It's and they're like, look, we've installed this in this cow. And look, we can reach in his stomach. And as a kid, I'm like, well, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You're killing the cow. As a kid, it's ruined me, and it's still in
Yeah.
there.
And
And I'm
it-
glad you've seen it too.
Yeah, and they stuff all the grains. Food Inc. It's a documentary. They stuff like all this other food that they wouldn't normally eat to fatten them up.
Oh,
No,
into the
yeah,
cows? Oh,
Yeah.
no. This one, they were just pulling out and showing you the interior of its stomach, but it's ruined me.
Well, going back to the manatees, I'm sure it frustrates you, Tracy, too, because like most people just want to point at something easy to
It's
be like,
not easy.
this is the problem, and then it's
And
like
the fix is this.
It's kind of like I always use the Blackfish SeaWorld analogy, where I remember when that came out and everybody was like all attacking SeaWorld and stuff, and I was like, well, there's whaling ships, like, you know,
Right.
Japan is sitting up, they're killing thousands of whales.
Yeah.
Like, they're the problem. They're like SeaWorld, I think.
I
Like,
saw Hayden Panettiere out there from the show Heroes
throw
on
the
a
stink bombs.
paddleboard.
Well, it's just like that, but people are like, it's easier just to like, I want to villainize this one thing.
Correct.
And while the real problem is
It's
so
also a
super
place that you could
complicated.
drive to and hold your stupid sign out in front. You know, like it was very accessible.
Now, I'm happy that the energy is in the right place. Or it's like, yes, we do care, but it's like,
About animals,
but the energy is directed at the wrong problem. I feel. Do you feel like that's a lot of it?
I don't know. There's a lot of problems.
No.
We got
That's
a
what
lot
I
of
think.
problems.
I just throw my hands up.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's what we do at tolls.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why I like doing these talks, because I can sell hope instead of dealing with the reality that I do every single day. And it's a good outlet because there is hope.
Yeah.
And there are things that we can do, and the only way to really make change in any of these things is to come together as a community and change them.
And just be aware of it too. Like,
yeah,
a lot of
education is the first step.
don't bury your head in the sand. It's like,
Yeah.
no, this is a problem. And then
Yeah, and I think kids are liking science. I mean, places like the Science Center, our partnerships with places like Science Center and the library that I was talking with Jeff about. It's like, you know, I see even in my daughter, like one of her favorite subjects is science. Like today, she's homesick today, which is, it stinks, but, you know, she gets upset if she misses STEM class. And I like that.
That's because she is a good teacher.
Yeah.
And that's really all it comes down to.
It's dope that she expresses like she cried because she couldn't go to school today. And secretly, I was like, yes, I want you to love going
That's
there. You know,
awesome.
like
Right.
I'm glad I have that. I know it's not going to last. I know it's not
my
going to
sons
last.
pretend to be like, I don't feel good. I'm like, oh, you're lying. Just don't want to go to school.
She's just like her mom, though. Her mom's a total nerd. I married like the nerdiest gal in the land, and
That's awesome.
And May is like that, and I love that she's like that. But her favorite thing is science. Absolutely above anything STEM. Her STEM class is where it's at.
I also hate when they politicize science or the environment.
Don't do that.
It's like,
So
why
ridiculous.
are you politicizing it? Like,
Right.
we all are enjoying the environment. We want to live in a good, like,
Nice, clean place.
Yeah, like we all enjoy the outdoors. I don't want it to be polluted. I
Yeah.
want it to be. I want to see animals. I want my sons to see animals roaming around. Like, I don't want it to be a desolate wasteland.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants that.
Right.
Like, I think,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And then, so stop politicizing everything.
You know what it is? It's short-term versus long-term economics. Long-term economics will always support environmental sustainability, and that's really what we have to all focus on.
Yeah.
Is that in the long run, we're going to be saving money if we save our environment now. Like the things that we do now will prevent the big things that we either can't fix or are really expensive to fix in the future.
Yeah. Like, once it goes too far, there's no going back.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. You read all these scary things, and then it does, I feel like, put in the mentality of, oh, God, we can't do nothing. But it's like, it doesn't have, you can
But
do something.
normally
Like,
the writer of that, just like any article that we found these days, you know, they like to kind of point it where it ends in sort of a way where you feel like there may not be more hope, because in turn that's going to make you search for the hope.
Right.
Yeah,
And that'll make
yeah,
you
it
read
becomes
more
yeah.
horrible articles. It is a trick, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But yeah, I like to hear what you have to say, because there's got to be something we could do. I mean,
No, absolutely. There's always something you can do.
what is like? And I was just reading through your bio here, and something caught me. And I'm just going to go on a tangent. We're just going to take a left turn.
Okay.
You were featured in Marvel's Unstoppable Wasp comic book.
Yeah.
What is that? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So
Did they draw you in the book?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
How did that come about? How does one end up in a Marvel comic book?
The writer for that comic book saw me and my friend on Mythbusters. And
You're on Mythbusters?
Yeah.
That's my favorite show. Which episode?
There we go.
It was a season in 2017.
Well, it's
Okay.
insulting
Yeah.
to say what episode when she says I was on the whole season.
Oh,
You just
okay.
insulted your
So
best
sorry.
friend. You just insulted your best
Now
friend.
she thinks you're a liar because you said it was your favorite show.
Yeah.
No,
Now she thinks
no,
you're a
no.
liar.
It was the reboot.
Yeah. Oh, it's my favorite album. We never made
Well-
that album.
Oh,
Like,
was it the reboot?
Yeah, it was the reboot. So it's like I understand. I wasn't on the good Mythbusters.
No, don't say that.
No, it's
you
a-
were on Mythbusters. I'm
I
not going to
know,
let
I
you
know.
say that.
Well,
That's not
the-
fair.
I know, but-
That's not
The
fair.
The
But
Busthead
my
fan
friends
club
Carrie
will
and
give-
Tori
will
are
argue that
amazing.
He likes the big mouth
The
girl
what
on there.
now?
What was the
The
lady?
Busted.
Well, that's
Who was
what
the
they
girl
call
that you
fan
liked
club.
on there? The
Carrie.
Big, Carrie.
Yeah.
Carrie's my friend.
Yeah.
And she is amazing.
I didn't mean to call her big mouth then.
I love her.
No, you know,
She has large teeth
the
in a pretty way.
that
Very pretty.
that show did a lot for science and for
So
the
much.
education of.
He got
a
you
lot
involved in it.
Well, I liked myths, and because I constantly argue with my wife, but she tells me old wives' tales all the time, and I'm like, that's not true. But now I have to say it in my head.
Like,
and
did you
just
know
go
that
along
if
with my
you
life.
eat a bowl of macaroni, like plain Kraft macaroni and cheese, and pour A1 on top of it, it will get your wife pregnant? That's the old Jim Phillips myth.
Yeah.
Seriously?
She has to eat it standing on her
Well,
head. Yeah, it works. Totally works.
That's amazing.
It's science.
How'd you get on Mythbusters?
My 11-year-old cousin was idolizing Kim Kardashian, and I was like, "Whoa, you need better role models." So I started making videos.
You're like, we have to change and make
yeah.
science a
We
little
have to
more
do
normal.
something.
Yeah,
We
it
have to
can't
do
just be lab coats
Right.
anymore.
And Discovery found that video and contacted me about developing a show. And then the call for Mythbusters came up. So
That's
it was
rad.
just, and I was, I learned how to weld and plasma cut on live TV, national TV. It wasn't live.
I've always
but-
wanted
Yeah,
to
yeah,
shoot
yeah.
a bullet into a jelly head. Those jelly heads are so cool. Just to have a jelly head,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
We watch all the Mythbusters, and then we forget whether the myth is busted or not, and then we just spill tons of misinformation. For
Right.
years we've been doing that.
Right.
And then we can't remember. We're like, oh, wait a minute. Is a gorilla faster than a sheep? I don't know.
It is a sad
But-
testament
But,
to what
but
they've
you
done.
remember the question and the methods of testing, and that is something.
We need a show like that now for May. May, like my daughter, she had
Yeah.
this show on Netflix that was a female scientist, and this is one of the reasons why we were really
She's
into
one
it.
of my friends too.
That,
Emily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Emily on the Emily Science World or what? Yeah. So we need to get your numbers, so we have like all the scientists to call. But like that show, we loved it, and then of course they're like, yeah, it got canceled. And it just feels like they don't want a lady. Like a fun lady science show or something, like, because we loved it. That was a great show.
It's tough. We're trying. I have
You gotta
few
do it.
things. I have a few things going. We'll see if maybe something hits.
Oh, they just hear that.
Well,
you hear that?
alright.
You heard that?
But-
Yeah, you
The
heard it
sad-
here. You heard it here first.
We're the sad.
You heard nothing, but you heard it here first.
Right.
State of affairs that we're in is people will watch like some science show and be like, "That's not my method."
Right.
What do you mean? Like this, it does not. It's not subjective here. Like, it's
no,
it's
sorry.
how it
It
works.
just works.
It does, it's
Like the alchemy
or
penny
they'd be
lab
like,
that I did
"I-"
in chemistry
Yeah.
works because it works, and
Right.
it will never not work. It will always work.
You know what? That's sad that the internet has created the suspicion to what you read if it's real or not.
Oh, it's so sad.
Which is
We're going
which you
backwards.
have to
Yeah.
do because the environment has trained us to be like, well, be skeptical of this article, whatever, which is a good thing. But that's made people skeptical of everything.
Right.
So then
and now people don't even know the truth.
And then so they read something and they're like, well, I've been trained because the internet is all fake to be skeptical of everything. So now I'm reading something that's real and I'm skeptical of that. And then it's like, oh, the opposite of what we wanted happened. And now no one believes anything. And you're like, oh, damn.
Well, damn.
What have we done?
Well, damn, we did it.
The one show I'm on right now, it's called Weird Earth, and it does a good job because it takes the skeptics. It takes these crazy things caught on film, these like Earth phenomena or alien-like things, and it breaks it down from several different angles, and you learn about something different in all those different journeys that you're on. And then I do an experiment, and we figure out if what it actually was and what actually was happening.
I will
Well,
watch
that's cool.
this.
Where can you watch that?
Weather Channel.
Oh,
Weather Channel Sundays at 9.
Yeah, Weather Channel been stepping up their content
I tell you
lately.
what.
They have.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we get on there sometime. I was watching one show on Weather Channel, and it was just on the bottom, it just the Weather Channel, and it was a comedy show. And I'm like, telling my wife, I'm like, what am I watching right now? It's like the Weather Channels had to, because they're just like everybody. They compete with everything.
Yeah.
We can't just do weather. We got to have like, we have a cool scientist doctor on there, like doing a show. We got to do a show. We can't just say it's partly cloudy.
I know, yeah. And you know what also
But
happened?
it was good, yeah. Congrats on that.
Well,
I'll
and
check that out.
they've had so much viewership, and they're the one network that has grown because, first of all, they're the most trusted network, and second of all, because we've had so many disasters that have brought people from all over the country watching Weather Channel, from atmospheric rivers in the Northwest to hurricanes down here, tornadoes in the Midwest and Southeast.
Chat room
and
is
then
falling in love with
everything
you.
that's happening.
They're literally
Don't tell her that.
No,
Well,
but
they
it's just,
can meet her.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it's gonna
Buy
say
your
that
ticket-
live.
Yeah, buy your tickets, guys. I mean, seriously, they're just like, she's so cool. She's the best. Neat.
Did the core of the Earth
Awesome.
stop spinning? I read that
Oh, I
online.
read that too.
This morning
Yeah.
on
I read
Facebook.
that too, and then I was like,
looking
oh my God. I was like, when I flush my toilet and everything goes down to the devil's mouth,
Yeah.
what's he doing?
Right.
Nothing's happening down there.
He's not spinning
Yeah,
anymore.
he's like, it's not spinning down there anymore. I got tons of time.
I mean, like my friends say, it's probably okay.
Oh, yeah,
What?
yeah.
And then I caught that. I caught the side eyes on the camera. I
Well, that's
zoomed
what,
in.
because I saw the article. They're like
She
the
said it's probably okay. That's scary.
Probably okay.
the core of our Earth stopped spinning. I'm like, oh god, I click on this. I'm scanning through, and I'm like,
What does that mean? I'm gonna go like, whoa. That's what happens when it
Yeah.
stops abruptly.
no, if the Earth
It
stops spinning,
slows
we'd
down
be
and then it goes
vaporized.
the other way.
Like,
Yeah.
we instantly
I
all
wouldn't be
vaporized.
vaporized. I think I'm fast enough. I gotta jump out of
If
the
you
way.
run the opposite direction.
Yeah. I've done CrossFit for one day. I think I can do it. I think I could jump to the side. Be all right.
Well, also the poles. I read that too. The poles of the
Not
Earth
nice.
switch.
They're Polish people.
I don't know if that. No, I'm saying like a North and South Pole. And I'm
Oh.
like, what? And then you read that, they're like, oh, it's fine. And I'm like, it's fine.
I looked at the cameras. I'm like, is the people still standing?
But that creates another problem too, where everybody's just reading the headlines, and then
That's
like,
what I did. I didn't read the article.
That's a huge problem.
And then you just scan through and you get disinterested because there's 10,000 other things, and then now it's become all headlines.
I have to be honest. It was so far down. Like, it was like we had this, and then right down here it said, Earth's core, stop spinning. And I was like, well, if it's that far down.
it can't be
It
that.
can't be that
and then-
serious.
no, well, honestly, I did the word
that's
math.
true.
Because
It's
word
almost
math.
true.
So I did the calculations. I go, well, it's that far down, and it's just a headline, and they're tricking me because that's what we're thinking now. I'm like, well, they're just trying to get me to read that and scare me, so I'm not going to believe it. They're not going to get me.
I'll only take it seriously if Antonio Brown retweets it. Then I'll know.
Yeah. We get all of our science news from Antonio
AB.
Brown. Yeah. We love AB.
If he retweeted, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, serious.
Do you
Like,
know Dr. AB?
I'm sorry, Tracy.
Which is so funny because sometimes it really is about who the information comes from, not how vetted it is, not what it is,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
but who it comes from. And that's the scariest part.
And then if it comes from someone, going back to politics, that you don't like, then you won't immediately
Right.
not believe
I
it.
know.
Because like,
It could be the truest thing in the world.
yeah. And because now it's just coming from someone you don't like politically.
Yeah,
and
it's
you're
like
just like,
Kanye West is like, the Earth's core stopped spinning. I'm not going to believe that guy.
Obviously, that didn't happen.
Yeah, like, you get out of here,
Yeah.
you weirdo.
but Tracy,
He
you
was
got
right this
hope,
time.
right?
I do.
Because sometimes you see all this stuff and then you just give up and you're like, oh, there's no hope, but there is hope.
Yeah, I mean, we always tend to do things when we have no other choice. So, we're waiting to the last minute, 11th hour, as humans have throughout history. Hopefully, we really take this opportunity and these warning signs from these, triple La Niñas with climate change and start doing things differently.
I had a triple La Nina last night.
know.
I knew that was going to
was
come.
coming, right?
I know too.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah, me and Tracy looking at me like,
Yeah.
this
He's
guy is going to make a
gonna
joke.
Read a joke.
He's inappropriate. Anyway, Jeff, thanks for
Can
coming
I
by.
get a triple La
Yeah,
Nina?
you.
Triple La Nina? Triple La
I always, when we're doing these things, I look at Jeff. I'm like, hopefully,
Yeah.
we're
I hope
not
he did
Yeah,
okay.
you look. Hold on, let me put Jeff on. You look at Jeff. You're like, did we scare Jeff? Is Jeff properly
Still
scared?
here.
Yeah, still
All right.
here.
Well, they said the right name of the event, so I'm feeling okay.
Orlando Science Center. Just
Yeah.
become a member because then you can go to Science Not Live for
Correct.
free.
In fact, it's an easy, and if you are a member and you need to re-up, that's what we did. We rolled in, and it was like time to re-up. So you just re-up and get it, and then that way, when you're having a rainy day or that that day when you're just tired of running all around town and you just want to go and chill out and see some cool exhibits and enjoy all that the Science Center has to offer.
My sons begged us to take them there this Saturday because they were like, we haven't been to the Science Center in a long time, and because we went for the VIP experience. And,
we kind of got spoiled on that whole, man, being up in the
we
telescope.
took good care of you. Yeah.
Being up in the telescope, when you see that, it's kind of hard to like get your old rickety telescope and put it in your backyard, put it on your balcony. You know, like Maisie looks at that garbage now. She's like, I'm not going to look at that. I want that $200,000 big old monstrosity.
There is, like, now I understand when people talk about how it changed them to look at the Earth from space or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
It freaked me out a little bit. We've never done that.
But when you look at a planet, and
it was
you're
a
like,
little...
it changed. You're like, wow. That's far away and it's out there.
Yeah.
That's just
you can
nothing
feel it
compared to how big the universe is.
That's the weird part, is it's also hard to articulate that to people and like find the right words to say. Like, you were looking at it with your eye, but you could feel it in your, like, you could feel it. Like, it was sort of a heaviness of like, holy man, I'm nothing. I am so tiny. Holy. And it's also 3D, and when we could see what were the striations or whatever we were looking at, oh my God.
It made me not want to pay my bills.
Right?
Like it was like,
you can't blame us for that, Tom.
I wrote it to the IRS. I'm like, Science Center made me do
Jeff
this.
made me look at the, I looked at their good.
Tracy, Jeff, thanks so much for coming by.
Thank you so much for having us.
Y'all. We got to get out of here, right?
We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, we're off the air.
Thanks,
Are we recording
guys.
anymore?
No.